Hi everyone, I'm happy to virtually welcome you all to today's Ad Art Show 2020 Lunchtime POV from MvVO Art. My name is Emily Anastasi from the MvVO Art team. It's my pleasure to introduce today's show, which is the first of a weekly interactive series exploring creative entrepreneurship and creative technologies titled Think and Know, What is Your Practice?, which is hosted by Dr. Erica Wong of To Practice, and Alexis High of Softcore, LA. Welcome everyone, let's get started.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Hi.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello, Erica.
Hi, Alexis.
Well, if I'm an artist, why do I need to practice?
Because that's what you do. I guess that's the best way. I think I need to go in reverse and ask you this instead, as I'm the artist and you're the curator dealer.
All right.
So I have a practice.
You do.
I make public art. I'm now going to go and explain to you that I make public art. Does that matter to you as a dealer? And if it does, why does it matter to you? What are you looking for? What do I need to know? What
do you need to know? So as an artist, so if you're going to be working with galleries, with curators, with dealers, with collectors, yes, there are going to be the sales or the interactions where it's just, I love it. It's instinctual. This is it. I have to have it. The same way you'd, someone go into a store and see a shirt that they just love. Or it's instinctual and absolutely. But a lot of times it's, what are you making? What are you making it out of? What's your practice about? What is this saying to you? What are you trying to communicate to me about? What's your how do you make these pieces, especially for somebody who's doing an installation, multimedia, painting's a little bit more understood, but even then, people are using techniques that we don't know about. Like maybe you're not just using oils, maybe you're incorporating other mediums into there. Maybe it's a different kind of canvas treatment that you like to do. These are things that we want to know because all of these things that you're making and how you're making them is your practice, and they all inform what you're communicating with your art. And as a curator, as a dealer, as a collector, as a gallery, I need that information to interpret your work and to further my depth of understanding of your work, which can help me if I'm curating a show. It can help me if I'm trying to sell it to a collector. It can help me understand it if I am the collector and I can enjoy it in my home, in my space, in my office, when I'm, interacting with the piece, like the conversation that we have, personally that way.
So my practice, installation, my medium is space. So as a collector, curator, dealer, is that enough if I just tell you that my medium is space?
If you want to end it there, yeah, you can. That's your choice. But as a curator, I'd be like, great. And what does that mean to you? Why have you chosen space? Why is space inspiring to you? What have you discovered about space through your installations and through your practices that has furthered your curiosity, that's furthered your practice, that has taken you to places that you didn't know? What are the conversations you're having with space? And I'd want to know the answers to those questions.
So what I'm hearing is that we can answer quite point blank. And at the same time, we need to be prepared to go and have quite in-depth answers as well, based on maybe what your interest is as a curator, based on what types of shows that you produce, based on who your clients are when you have your dealer hat on. Is that correct?
Definitely. I would think that it's a couple fold. Like for instance, if I have my curator hat coming in, I'm either coming to you to learn about your practice for future shows unwritten, or maybe I have a specific show in mind. And so it's, is your work or what you've been working on lately or in the past in the studio, is that going to fit into the show? Or it's just for my own, file of knowledge of, okay, this is how Dr. Erica Wong works. This is the stuff, and I'm doing a show in the future. This is going to be a great fit. Oh, I have a client who's interested in space as well and installation art. This is going to be a good fit for them. So having that kind of information just in general for me as a collector dealer, our curator is great. But there will be different reasons someone's coming into your studio and having those conversations. And it might be pointed for one transaction, or it could be just general knowledge for a longer term, relationship.
So I know what my practice is, but what happens if I don't know what my practice is? What if I'm still a student, or I'm actually just starting out and I'm very interested in the arts? I love making work. What do I do? Like, should I contact you as a curator and ask questions, or should I find out what my craft is or what my medium is? Like, how should I go about doing this?
For me, in my experience, I would say you start with your foundation. You make the work. If you're not making the work, then you're not an artist. You make the work and you keep making it. And you make mistakes and you erase and you throw away and you find new mediums and you throw those mediums away, and you really get, to a place where you're doing it. And you talk to peers, you find other artists, you find other creatives that are in your, kind of your peer group, your colleagues. Talk to them about your practice. Find some strangers on the internet, get a TikTok, get an Instagram, talk to those people and see what they're talking about. You don't want to, just the same way as if you don't want to shoot your shot too early. You want to have a base, you want to have something to talk about, you want to sound like you know what you're talking about as well, because part of the relationship is absolutely your art. What are you creating? How is that going to be put out there? What are those conversations? But part of the relationship with, the outside world as an artist in a capitalist society is, business. It is exchanges of goods and money and time, and professionalism comes in with that. So if you are reaching out to me as a curator and you don't know what your practice is, you don't know how to talk about it, you don't know what your prices are, you don't know how to move things, I'm just going to be like, that's really great. And I have nothing to do with you because you're not at a level yet where we can be conversing at where we're going to be taking this artwork. So it's, get secure, have your friends interrogate you. Like, why did you choose this? What is this color scheme? If you're using this medium, does that mean something? Does it not? If it doesn't mean something, why'd you do it? This is
what
where
is it
art
referencing?
School,
what
exactly.
Era? Who are the artists that really kind of
influence you?
What does that
exactly.
mean? Yeah, those are really important questions.
They're super important. And once you have those, and don't get me wrong, your influences could be, what's outside on the street. It could be the truck down the road and the guy who works at the bodega. Like, those can be your influences, but like, be prepared to defend them and be prepared to explain that, because people want to know, because that's part of the visual language and the story that you're telling.
So then would you say that the practice is only the output itself, like the piece of work itself? For me, I definitely don't think that that's necessarily the case. When I make an installation, you get to experience it, but because I make temporal pieces, so they're ephemeral, so they get taken down very quickly, then you get to experience the documentation of it. So in that case, then what happens? Like, because is the practice just the piece of work that you physically get to see and experience, or is there actually more to the eye that we don't actually ever talk about?
I think so. I think that it's more. I think it's all of it. I think it's going into the studio or into your back room or into the corner of your bedroom and with a cup of tea, with, your water, and sitting down and thinking through it, and what you talk about and what you read and what you're researching and the art that you see. All of those things combine to help you get your story out, to get your vision out, to get those communications out. And I think it's all of it. Do people only see the output of it? Absolutely. But we also know all of the work that goes into it. And we know that it's ups and downs and failures and hard work and sweat and tears and blood. And that all of that makes you stronger as an artist, makes you stronger as a person, is like those kind of character buildings. And that's where you can really figure out where your boundaries are, what you like and what you don't, and how you want to use them. So I think the practice is everything. I think it's
super encompassing, isn't it? Yeah. I also think that in art school, what you don't like is actually more important than what you do like, because we already naturally gravitate towards the things that we like. But understanding what something doesn't click in you is very important in terms of your practice, because that allows for you to broaden what you think could be part of your practice. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean that your taste doesn't change, or actually getting to the root of understanding why you don't like that and how it can influence you and actually develop your practice. That's also something that isn't necessarily spoken about very often as well. So something that I could probably say to a curator like you, I'd be like, oh, I used to be very uninterested in a specific subject. And now, because I've done the research for it, the super back end side of things, I now am very influenced by it, and my work goes towards that direction. I would like to know, as a curator, would you find that to be like a really good development? Because for me as an artist, I would be like, oh yes, I can see that progression, how I've developed my practice, my craft, and my understanding of theory, my spatial awareness, use of materials, my knowledge and skills. So as a curator, if I was going to go and bring that point up, would that matter to you?
Absolutely, because it speaks to not only your growth as an artist, how important it is for you to grow as an artist, how important it is for you to know yourself as an artist, but it also speaks to, again, that kind of professionalism of you're growing, you're learning, you're figuring out, like, so it makes me think, oh man, if something happened that was wrong, she might try to figure that out. This is someone I'd want to work with, because there's a give and take there, even within herself, which could make for really potentially incredible collaboration. Like for us, it's like there's give and take. She's going to be receptive to me being like, I don't understand why you picked this material. And then she'll be like, this is why. Or she'd be like, oh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Why did I pick this material? I'm going to self-investigate this, and maybe I'm going to adjust, and we're going to find something better. And that's so exciting. Like that's the most exciting thing that I can think of in terms of like an artist relationship, is someone who's open to change, because there's just no way any of us can know everything. There's just
so really the practice isn't just the one thing that you see. It's not the photograph, it's not the painting, it's not the piece of sculpture. It's actually very encompassing, it's very holistic. It's the research that you do, the readings that you go and look for articles, I guess that's also research. Speaking to your peers, speaking to a curator, speaking to everybody, just so you actually have a broader sense and how that actually changes and develops your practice. I think that is what actually we were talking about today, in terms of the things that we think and know when you're an artist, whether you already have defined your practice, whether you are trying to go and define your practice, whatever it is that you're looking towards. Those are the questions that are very useful to ask yourself in terms of like being very reflective and reflexive.
Exactly. And this is, especially with your peers, working this kind of stuff out, you just don't know where that journey is going to take you. Those kinds of conversations that you have, it's so important to have other people to talk to about these kinds of things. And it's important to have those conversations with yourself, with other people's art, especially if you don't like something, because why? What is it about this sculpture that's making you mad? What is it about this painting that's boring to you? Like, why are you so turned off? Like, is it personal? Is it physical? Is it like, what's the thing? And getting to the root of that is really, you just don't know where you're going to go with those kinds of things. And like, that's where some really exciting stuff can lie. So, yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So that was the first talk.
Yes. That's
so hopefully
15 minutes.
It's 15 minutes. So we'll see you guys next week, next Friday. And thanks, Erica.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.